What is good, guys? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this I want to break down what's happening with Tesla, SPY, Nvidia, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm also going to break down some big news that just came out involving Tesla and Cathie Wood, as Cathie Wood has been once again disclosing how many Tesla shares that the ARK ETF is holding, and also other important factors about that. But before I begin the devil's information, before I talk about some big news about Tesla and what's happening with the markets, let me just mention a few things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo and deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15 free stocks. And the offer ends in just 3 weeks. Anyways, for Tesla, we got this very, very nice looking uptrend right here. Nice little pump all the way up to this 265 area. The exact level we called out, we said 265 is likely coming on the push. And once we hit this 265 area, Tesla got this initial rejection back down to about 260, went back up to about 265, only to come back down. And we're currently around 262. So you can see how it's kind of shuffling between these levels. But overall, Tesla did a good job at holding up. And I still want to note that Tesla has a lot of strength, at least technically speaking. Now, despite that, the market's been kind of dipping a little bit. If you look at SPY, it was consolidating a bit between its key supply and demand areas before kind of coming down just a bit. So it's still, holding up decently, but it's starting to downtrend just a little bit. So we'll have to watch and see where we end up closing. That's going to be very, very important. Now, I want to note some more things about the market. As a reminder, Jerome Powell didn't really say too much. That's why the market is still kind of like stuck the way it is. Powell was just being very careful with his words. There's not really much else coming out, at least for the markets for the rest of the day. However, there was some big news that came out from Bloomberg. They're basically reporting that Tesla is now the biggest ever weighting in ARK. That's after an 80% stock gain. That's absolutely insane, too. And seeing this in the ARK ETF, now it accounts for over 15% of their $6.2 billion in assets. Once again, Tesla reclaimed the top spot in April, surpassing Coinbase, and is continuing to be bigger than ever before. So that's absolutely insane, especially after this big gain in Tesla. That's helped Tesla just surpass their other assets valuations. And that just goes to show how committed Cathie Wood is to Tesla and its big plays. Now, when you look at the full holdings of ARK, you guys can see right over here, in total, they have over a 15.53% weight right here from ARK. And that has a total valuation of $955 million, just under that $1 billion target. And then on top of that, they have over 3.77 million shares in total. You guys can check on the PDF right here. But just goes to show that there's been all this talk about how Cathie Wood is shorting Tesla, Cathie Wood's giving up on the company. I've been hearing a lot of people saying that, but the reality is that's not really what's going on right here. Actually, she's doubled down on Tesla. She still has close to $1 billion worth of shares. If she sells out a few million, yeah, that's normal. These fund managers take profits, they hedge, they do all kinds of things, they reposition. Don't necessarily let the media get the best of things. Just look at what the actual numbers show us, which is the fact that right now we're still seeing Tesla making up the majority of their holdings. And if they have close to $1 billion worth of Tesla shares, I wouldn't necessarily worry if she sells like a million at a time, 1% of her position, just to kind of redistribute the money in other places and kind of take a little bit of profits. That's completely fine. But still, there's still so many shares being held, so I'm not necessarily worried whatsoever. There's also some news coming out that Tesla has the upcoming Model Y refresh. I'm seeing this all over the news. There might even be like a front bumper camera and such. There's been a lot of talk about this. This is getting the same treatment as the Model 3 before the refresh ended up coming out. So with this happening, there's a good chance that there will be a refresh for the Model Y. We just don't know the exact timing. Musk once again said it's not going to happen this year, but I'm still seeing this all over the news. That's why I'm just talking about this very briefly. Whole Mars Catalog also talks about this. There's a lot of headlines coming out that the judge who voided Musk's pay package faces a tough call on the $7 billion legal fee. But then Whole Mars Catalog responded. They said that only in a bizarro legal world is this a tough call. This case was an absolute disaster for the shareholders. The lawyers who bought it should be given nothing in light of the recent votes. That's actually something worth noting. Musk responded with absolutely. So I personally think that this was the shareholders' decision. We've already voted yes, Musk should have the pay package. So I think that all this legal talk is just completely unnecessary. All this litigation and such, it's just completely unnecessary. And whatever happens, happens. I just want to wish the best for everyone, and just say good luck to the people who tried to stop Elon Musk, try to stop his pay package. It's not going to work out. Musk is the one who deserves his money. The shareholders voted upon it. This was agreed upon before a judge tried to strike it down. So it's not working out. This is what the shareholders want, and this is what Musk is entitled to because this was agreed upon many, many years earlier. So I'm not really worried about this. I don't think anything's going to change. Musk will get his money. He will get his Tesla shares and etc. And just know that the whole situation is just doesn't make sense. It was just absolutely ridiculous. So we're just going to move on from here. When it comes to Tesla, we pushed all the way up to this 265 resistance. Make sure you watch that as our key resistance. And then for our key supports, I'm going to be looking at a different level. So as far as Tesla goes, we have critical support right now, or the support we're trying to hold is around here, this 260 area. So we're going to be watching that a little bit more carefully. And then as far as other levels go, I'll be watching to see how we react as well. But just know 265 is key resistance, and then 260 is key support. If you lose 260, look for it to back down to our 20 EMA to 256. And if we manage to hold above this, we just consolidate. In my personal opinion, I think that Tesla's going to consolidate a bit between 260 and 265 for the rest of the day because the move is already done, but Tesla's still up quite a bit. It's doing a great job. So far, so good from the share price. SPY is kind of shaky right now. It was chopping all day because Jerome Powell didn't really give us much information. It's trying to dip a bit. We'll have to see if we can try to close above 555.8 or not. If we close below this, there's going to be a little bit of weakness on the chart developing. If we close above that, there is still potential for it to rebound. So we're not necessarily done yet. Make sure you watch 555.8, this 20 EMA. If we lose this, we're going all the way down to 555. If we break through this 556 resistance, we could be pushing back up. But overall, like I said, there's a little bit of weakness as of right now. For the past 3 hours, we've been kind of pushing downwards. So there is weakness right now. We'll have to see if this lasts into close. Remember, yesterday the market was also dropping for about 3 straight hours. Then during the last hour, we pushed back up. So we'll see if we get something similar or not. But just know that as of right now, there's weakness. There's no sign of a bounce quite yet. On Nvidia, we're holding up very, very well. We're going to try to push towards 131.5, this range right over here. We also have resistance at 133, and we have support currently at 130. I'll be watching to see how well we end up holding these levels. We're kind of stuck within this range. So I'm going to give Nvidia the time it needs and see how things end up progressing, at least moving forward. For Bitcoin, we've been trying to push a little bit higher. Make sure you watch this resistance around 58,000. We also have support around this 57,000 area. Looking at this nice kind of like accumulation structure, Bitcoin had the double bottom that's actually panning out. And I think that there is more upside potential if we break 58,000. As you can see, Bitcoin's kind of uptrending as we predicted. So I want to see it test 58,000, see if we can break it or not to determine the bigger move. Otherwise, we're just kind of playing a waiting game. For the QQQ, we're kind of trading sideways right now. It is trying to turn on the 4 hour and also on the hourly, but watch resistance around 497.76. If we hit this, look for a bigger push for 498 and eventually higher levels. If it rejects here, we're coming back down towards 496.75, and then we'll start dipping lower. It's a bit of a drop right here, so we're going to be watching this consolidation phase at which we're kind of stuck in. So I'm going to give this some time just to see how things end up progressing, but just know that we dipped quite a bit only to rebound, and we're just kind of consolidating, at least for the time being. For Apple's also trading sideways, going back and forth, completely stuck within this range. Watch 228 as resistance. If this breaks, look for 230. If you reject, you're going to be dipping back down towards 227 or lower. Otherwise, Apple is just very, very choppy, not really doing much. For Supermicro, we pushed all the way up to about 9 for the only to reject a bit. We're just shuffling around 900. Once again, guys, let's just chop all over the market. We're just choppy right now. We're going to see if this closes above or below 900. That will give us some hints for tomorrow. Above 900 would be more bullish, and below that would be favoring bears a bit more. AMD dipped quite a bit all the way down towards 175, only to rebound a bit. I'll be watching resistance at 178 and then 180. Watch support at 175. As of right now, I think it could be pushing towards 178, so it looks pretty decent. For Coinbase is very interesting. So we had this trend line. You guys can see this big trend line we had drawn out right here. Notice how it dipped a bit, kind of retested the trend line only to reject. So we weren't able to break through the trend line to push for 230. Instead, we pushed up, rejected. Now we're just consolidating back around 220. So that's all it's really doing right now. There is a risk of it dipping towards 218, though, if we fail to reclaim 222. So I want to see it get back above 222. If not, we're going to be dipping back down to 218. For Amazon, we're just trying to push for 200, looking pretty decent. If we close above here, there's going to be more upside potential. If we fail to do so, we're going to be looking for a rejection. As right now, Amazon's been shuffling and kind of stuck at this 200 area. If we close above this and hold above this, we'll be looking for 202. We haven't been able to close above 200 for quite some time, so we'll see if we close above here. 202 would be our next target. If we fail, look for 199 and then lower levels. For Meta, we're just trading kind of sideways. I do see some signals that suggest that 528 is likely coming, then some consolidation. It's just consolidating, so it's kind of boring. So look for a little dip and then some consolidation after that. Like I said in my earlier video, I expected 460 on Microsoft. That's what we ended up getting. Now we're trying to base right here at 459. That's where we had this wick. So watch to see if we hold here. If we fail here, we're going to dip even lower all the way down to 457. Still looks more bearish to me. So it depends if we hold 459 or not. If not, look for 457 as the next target. It looks more bearish. Google looks like it might be testing 190 very soon, 190 flat. We're still a little bit above that, so give that some time. There's still weakness on the chart. GameStop is trading sideways within a range, not really doing a whole lot. AMC is trying to push. It's also trading sideways, not really doing much either, around 5.5. So that being said, a lot of stocks are just trading sideways. Some of them are dipping a bit, but Tesla, of all things, although it's starting to dip a little bit, it's still actually pushed a lot more than the overall market. So it's still technically outperforming the market. It pushed a bit. Now it's trying to dip just a little bit from there, but it's still holding up these levels nicely, and we have this nice range to be watching for. So watch us if you hold above 260. Overall, Tesla's doing a good job, and look at resistance at 265. So far, so good. So we'll have to see how things go. With that being said, I just want to say I really appreciate you guys. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys very soon on the next one. Thank you, and peace out.